Hello everyone and welcome back to Max's Perspective podcast. Today we're going to talk about the second most popular sport in the world. The second most popular sport in the world. When I say popular, I mean the most watched. So, what is the first, this might surprise you, what is the first most popular sports in the world? I think you can guess that because it's every country plays it and it's massive, and that is soccer or football. Football if you're English, and soccer if you're American. You know, the Soccer World Cup, FIFA World Cup, Brazil, Argentina, Italy, France, Germany, countries like that. Absolutely love it. But it's played everywhere. Africa, Asia, South America, North America, even Taiwan has a team. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the second most popular sports in the world. What do you think that is? And you might think it is basketball. You might think it is baseball. You might think it is maybe tennis. We're talking about the most watched sports in the world. But in fact, the answer is cricket. And that is a game that comes from England, and it is played by many countries around the world. Most of those countries have been colonized or influenced by England throughout history. So countries like India, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the Caribbean countries like West Indies, all of these countries love cricket. And the reason cricket is the second most watched sports in the world, more than baseball, more than basketball, is because in India, all those countries I mentioned love cricket, love it. But India, cricket is like a religion there. It is huge. Everyone loves cricket. So can you imagine the whole country, and India is huge, billions, into the billions. So they absolutely love cricket. And so that pushes cricket right up as the most second popular sport in the world. And it's the sport I once loved. I still love it. But when I was a kid, that was the first sport I learned how to play. Like in Taiwan, you guys learn how to play baseball or basketball or volleyball in your free time, in your PE. And for me, it was cricket. And I soon, as a kid, just absolutely loved it. And for most of my childhood and teenage years, it was my passion. I would wake up in the morning and start like thinking about it, and even like trying to like throw a ball around and trying to practice it all day. Into the afternoon, I was on teams. I would play on weekends. We would play matches against other schools. It's very popular in South Africa. Our national team was really good. So yeah, cricket is so popular, and it was my favorite thing. Did you know that cricket's probably one of the oldest sports in the world? They have recorded games being played in the 1500s. Sometime in the 1500s, and the first sort of official game that's recorded is in 1646. So just take a moment to understand how old the sport is. It's got so much history, so much tradition. And so when you try to teach someone, I've had many American friends where I try, like they ask me about cricket because they don't really understand it, just like I don't really understand baseball. And it's hard to explain. It's very hard to explain. There's lots of rules. It looks weird. It's a very strange game. But once you know it, it is so deep, and there's so much rivalry amongst all the teams. So if I come across an Australian or a New Zealand person, for example, we immediately can have a conversation about like, oh, who's the better cricket playing country. So, and it's quite nice because we can sort of immediately have a friendly sort of something in common to talk about. So yeah, cricket does bring people together, and it's a really fun game. There's even some cricket in Taiwan. If you look hard enough, there's a few clubs, especially in Taipei. And yeah, cricket is absolutely fantastic. Keep a lookout for it. It's getting more and more popular because they've suddenly sort of, well, not suddenly, it's been happening over the last few years. They've sort of changed the game a bit. They have different versions of it. There's one version where a game lasts for 5 days, and that's the very traditional sort of side of cricket. And if you're new to cricket, that can be a bit boring. And then there's a one-day game, which lasts for pretty much a whole day. And those are very exciting. If there's a Cricket World Cup, that's what they play. And then in the last decade, they brought in this short game, which only lasts about 3 or 4 hours. And that is really exciting. And they have a World Cup for that as well. It's called 2020 Cricket, because it's 20 overs each team. And that is very fast paced. So if you're looking to get into cricket and watch cricket, look for 2020 Cricket. There's a Cricket World Cup, and there's like leagues all over the world. Very fun. All right, cricket, the second most popular sport in the world. Just out of interest, the third most popular sport in the world to watch is basketball. So those are your top 3 sports by popularity, and cricket is the one that I know the most. It's if you went to Australia, New Zealand, England, South Africa, India, I'm missing a few countries, mainly those countries. If you went to any of those countries and you knew a little bit about cricket, then you would be instantly liked. How's that? All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. See you soon.